aborted comebacks and the mistakes that have dogged you all season long on the doorstep of what would have been an absolutely historic and momentous comeback, dare I say, the Christmas miracle that we were all praying for. Well, Andy, one thing I know no one's going to be asking for this Christmas, a pair of Rhamondre Stevenson's hands.
I would say that's one of the more alarming things of this loss and the loss in the last 2 weeks. The one bright spot you had offensively has become a pit of disgust. Rhamondre Stevenson obviously jump-started the lateral that lost in Las Vegas and then fumbled away the ball at the end of this game, as well as dropping a pass as you got the ball back, and we're still trying to come back. But this is 2 weeks in a row, two of the more ugly, interesting, unique, failure-filled, disappointing games you'll ever see.
I didn't think they could find a way.
Well, they also sucked you back in.
8 hours before Christmas, I literally didn't think they could find a way 8 hours before Christmas to suck me back in and then punch me in the you-know-where and then just grab me by the you-know-whats and twist them until I was red-faced in pain and tear-soaked on the heels of the Las Vegas lateral. I say lost, it was last, whatever.
Okay, we get it.
All right, fine. On the heels of the Las Vegas lateral comes Rhamondre Stevenson fumbling on the 5 in a game you had no business being in, yet somehow were able to mount an absurd, improbable, unthinkable comeback in its first and goal at the 5 with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. And 2 weeks in a row, the hands of Rhamondre Stevenson, yes, he's great. Yes, he is the future on the offense. Yes, he's your best player. Has cost you a game. He fumbles one hand on the ball, allowing it to be punched out in the pile. Side note, pretty uncreative play call. 1st and 5, 1st and goal right there, 1.5 minutes left. But that being said, you pay these people to hold on to the ball, and then he can't hold on to a screen pass with 20 seconds left, which probably could have gotten you to the 50, which either could have set up a better pass from Mac or a legitimate Hail Mary at the end. Patriots lose, as you know, 22-18. It was 22-0 at the half, everyone. And I'm sure those who turned the game off were probably told, a la the Ken Tompkins game, Super Bowl 51, many other unbelievable comebacks. Yeah. Turn the TV back on. I'm referencing comebacks during the double dynastic run where people were told, how dare you walk out on the Patriots, mostly Tom Brady. Turn the TV back on. Oh, my God, turn it back on. The Pats are in this game. We were sitting in there just watching the end of this game after I suffered and languished with the fans down there with my face practically bleeding. It was so chapped from the frigid wind and ice-cold temperatures down there. Andy, they had that game in their hands. And that
sort of.
No, but
they were lucky to be in the situation they were in.
Right.
Because I think they stink. I go back to the old Rich McKay quote.
Of course you stink.
What do you think your execution today, Coach? I'm all for it. Because their execution in all 3 phases is putrid.
That's an outstanding.
They sucked on special teams, they sucked on offense, and they sucked on defense. I'm not talking, Andy Hart suck where you're being a little harsh. No. At points of this game, all 3 phases sucked. And a week ago, we talked about Derek Carr. He gave you the opportunity. He opened the door on the Duggar pick 6. This is a different beast.
He played him back.
This is the
game.
Bengals,
yes.
Where the Bengals. I don't know if the Patriots have reached the point that they benefited from their ineptitude, and the Bengals just laughed. Like, we're done here. It's 22-0. They have no yards. They suck.
I literally think
the
Bengals went into basically like low energy mode, power saving mode, second gear, and they thought they could just coast as opposed to keeping the throttle down. I'll tell you straight up. You heard it on the television. I can tell you what it sounded like live. They were from a very small crowd. We're talking mid 40-something thousands.
How was my number? What did I set it at? 46.8, I think I said?
I think I heard somewhere in the low 40s, like 41, 42.
Okay.
The 300s were barren, like grandma's.
I would come down too and
old
get
Mother Hubbard's cupboards. Like no, but there was no one there. People were talking about not being able to give away tickets, attending the game for free, taking the tickets because their friend, their cousin, their mother, their brother, their corporate whomever.
My buddy turned down row 5 or something. Patriots sideline. He was like, no.
Yeah,
I'm good.
It was freezing.
Christmas Eve, it's cold and they stink.
Oh, and then as I tweeted out at halftime, and I told you. As I left to drive here to come do the radio show following some halftime holiday-themed antics on the field, I get in the car, and it takes me a minute to cross the parking lot to get to my car because so many cars are leaving lot 2 and 3, P2 and P3. And then there's actual traffic. There's foot traffic and actual vehicular traffic, Andy, of people leaving the game because they're like, it's freezing. Like you said, it's Christmas Eve. I want to get home. I don't want to be watching this. I'm done. Screw this team. I'm out of here. And then the Bengals go to sleep, and the Patriots decide to do something crazy, you guys. They do something crazy. They start throwing the ball down the field. They get aggressive.
To who?
To Kendrick Bourne, no
Who
less.
is this guy?
Who is this masked man? Who
Never
is this
seen
number
him.
84?
84?
Who's this?
I haven't seen him all year. And guess what? Still wasn't enough, and they still looked crappy along the way. I think, were very fortunate to be in the position they were in. It was an ugly football game. The Bengals, emotionally, I think, checked out. We're like, hey, what time do we get back to Cincy for dinner and my
maybe
kids?
we can make it home.
Hey,
I
you think they actually
kids,
called their wives and talked at halftime? Like, hey, this one's over, so could you make a big pitcher of eggnog for me? I'll be home sooner than I thought.
I'll be home by about 8, I think.
Yeah. I really think they checked
mood.
out on Christmas Eve. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, what is this? What is that? Hey, what's that scoreboard up there say?
What do these Patriots hate most, Andy? Success?
Matt Patricia.
Winning, Matt Patricia, us, the fans, playing a coordinated, well-executed professional football game?
That latter part.
Okay, yeah.
Because all three phases now.
Z, all of the above.
It's amazing to me how poorly we've been beaten over the years. Situational football, execution, position to succeed. And really the comeback, you were really fortunate and benefited from a miscommunication between Chase and Burrow, where they hit Marcus Jones, who, give him credit, once he has the ball in the hands, dangerous. Now, that's a bit of an issue because he's on the down list, too, for that last muffed punt. That's an opportunity there to jumpstart the drive.
He blew 10, 15 yards easily. Now, he's a hard guy to criticize given that, A, got the first touchdown, started the comeback, B, recovered the fumble that Judon created by stripping Chase. Not great in coverage today, but still dynamic.
But the punt return is his strength.
But if you catch that ball at the 25-yard line, he's got 10, 15 yards easy to get going before he could maybe
and
create
those are
a
huge.
play.
We've seen it over the years from Troy Brown to Wes Welker to Julian Edelman. Brady will get the credit for the drive. Mac Jones would have gotten the credit for the drive. But you can jumpstart it there with 15, 18, 20 yards of a punt return. Instead, he muffs it out of bounds, which I'm guessing the Bengals are like, perfect. We kicked it to the sideline for a reason, and you helped us out by muffing it out of bounds. But
he just flat out.
They were in position to win the game, but they didn't deserve to win the game for the second week in a row. They were in position in Las Vegas, didn't deserve. Because that first half, it was pitch and catch. It looked like Joe Burrow could do anything he wanted. He literally, the first interception, Boyd just stopped.
Right.
And was like, yeah, no, I don't want it. Somebody
the
might
first
hit me.
two drives, Andy, it was just the proverbial, like, hot knife through butter.
That's what I said.
It was like
the cold was not affecting the hot knife that is the Bengals offense.
It was just like cutting straight through a cake or like a perfect piece of medium rare meat. Like they just cut right through every pass that Burrow threw the first two drives in Foxborough, as some of the Bengals fans who took over the Mac Attack corner, because there were no Patriots fans to be found in the 100 level apparently, or very few, sadly, shamefully. But I guess now I understand. Oh, these poor people who stuck around, Andy, they deserve better. Anyway, so they called it FOX-BURROW in Foxborough, if you will, today. Yeah, big signs from Bengals fans.
Early.
They were holding them out earlier.
Late.
They drove down the field, touchdown, 3-and-out from the Patriots. Looked pathetic in the process. Bengals go ahead one more time, down the field. Ding dong, bing, bing, boom, touchdown. Patriots go 3-and-out again, and the Boo Birds start trickling into the field. No zappy chance or anything like that. Just poor communication, people running the wrong routes, offensive line folding in, awful. And at 22-0 at the half, I think we can both agree it felt like 45-0. They weren't even close to being down, down 22-0. No. That's what the scoreboard said.
Absolutely felt like a 30-burger, a no punt, like whatever kind of game.
34-0.
Absolutely. Like you couldn't stop them. It even, I said this, sometimes during training camp, you're not sure what the tempo of a practice is, and you're like, the offense is completing all these passes, but is the defense supposed to let them? Are they trying? I was wondering that about this game. It was almost like it was a 3/4 speed. We're not going to cover those receivers on the slants, and like you were getting big brothered. Marcus Jones, John Jones,
noogied.
T. Higgins,
sitting on you
Jamar
on the sofa,
Chase.
like, you want to get up, bro? You want to get up? Yeah, why don't you?
And
see
then
if you can get out.
You could have won. Like, that's the disappointing part. You could have stolen one, and we've talked about it. You were going to have to steal something here if you were going to hold out literally hopes for the postseason. hoping to sneak in somehow, some way, and it was there. It was the fourth quarter. You had the ball on the goal line with under, a minute 30, 40? You could win the game. And if you win the game, I can say you suck, and you can say Patricia sucks, but guess what? They might have sucked their way into the postseason.
Oh, they could have.
And now they're going to suck their way into the offseason.
That's it.
It's a lot of sucking. Well, technically, I think they're going to still be very much in
sort
the
of
mix.
In the mix-ish,
because they're playing these weird, crappy, losing games. But if you find a way to win one of these...
2 weeks in a row. Forget about the games earlier in the year that let's just look past all those games earlier in the year that they had a chance to win.
Just
focus
focus now.
Focus on the now. 2 weeks in a row, the New England Patriots were able to find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, or at least a tie.
Absolutely.
That's not a mediocre team. That's not a good football team. That's what bad football teams do. That's exactly what bad football teams do.
Especially when it's coming in all three phases.
Gifted an opportunity. What's your Christmas...
Lack of execution in all three phases.
What's the Christmas analogy you want to make? Literally, they're just that's like watching somebody walk over to you and just be like, no, here, you have this $1 million. Oh, no. And then just fall in a hole. Dropping dinner on the way to the table.
Like that commercial where the guy wins the lottery and then spills his drink and he's worried that it's going to just overflow over the top of the ticket. It's I think it's like a Braun commercial for paper towels. But that's the Patriots. They would scratch off a scratch ticket, and then Mac would be like, "What is this void if removed? What happens if I scratch this? Oh, you mean I don't get the $10 million?
Rhamondre would be like, "Oh, cool, we're doing a group scratch ticket. Let me get this part, Rhamondre, no." Once again, I apologize. I did not say it at the top because I was so emotional, and I still am, but I have to do my job. This is the Six Rings postgame show here on WEEI and all across the WEEI Sports Radio Network, Boston Sports Original, WEEI.com, the Odyssey app, whatever, wherever, however you find us. If you're driving home, we would love to keep you company. Give us a call if you're one of the few Foxborough faithful who stayed to the bitter end of that incredibly frustrating game. You can call us anytime, 617-779-7937. That's the telephone number. The socials at WEEI, at Jumbo Hart, at FitzyGFY. And if you want to text in, which a lot of people are doing with colorful metaphors and interesting language, it's a tad salty for Christmas Eve, but I feel you and I get you and I understand you, Pats fans.
Merry Christmas.